Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen, Allincrypto here, and welcome back, guys, on this happy Monday for what is going to be another jam-packed daily cryptocurrency market update. I hope we are all surviving and thriving. And as always, if you are new to this channel and finding yourself on my videos for the first time today, don't forget to check out that subscribe button because we drop an update just like this one around 1 p.m. UK time every single day to help you guys stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening within the crypto space, but also the broader markets. That's exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. Despite what happened over the weekends, actually the markets look quite good. Certainly, I think there was a lot of worry going into Monday's open, which we're yet to have in the United States. That'll be happening around about half an hour after this video is published. But something like gold doing quite well, the dollar not doing as well as it previously has done. And of course, crypto seeing a little bit of a recovery. I really think over the weekend, crypto kind of found itself flaying about a little bit because it didn't have any other markets to anchor itself onto. I think actually if the traditional markets were open, it probably wouldn't have sold off to the degree that it did. Certainly the altcoins wouldn't have. And on the topic of altcoins, I'm going to be showing you guys that actually what we saw over the weekend for crypto altcoins, even though it seems brutal, is actually normal and part and parcel of a bull market. Now that sounds insane, but stay tuned till the end of the video and I'm going to be showing you that. And that is really going to help put things into perspective. But what we're going to do to start things off is we're going to start off with some pretty huge news involving Hong Kong and the facilitation today of spot Bitcoin ETFs. It's going to be interesting to see what the kind of inflows that we see, that we're going to see are going to be like. And actually we know that there has been a huge demand, certainly out of other parts of China, for gold as people look to kind of hedge against their government. And that's really what Bitcoin is all about. And then we're going to be hearing some news from Germany's largest financial bank, LBBW, that is now offering Bitcoin and crypto custody services to fulfill an increased corporate demand. So pretty huge news. Then we're going to be getting into another number of other things. We're going to be talking again and reintroducing that kind of fighting back of the fiat systems in the form of very aggressive shortings on both gold and silver going into Friday. And we know that divergence between bonds and golds, and there's typically been a kind of synergy with them. And it's a case of the fiat systems kind of fighting back that, of course, has leaned on risk, leaned on crypto. And then coincidentally, you get everything that took place on Saturday. Now, I'm not claiming, because I don't have any factual evidence that these are linked, but there's often a lot of things that the financial markets indicate, or there's often a lot of financial reasoning behind things that go on behind closed doors. But let's start things off. Let's move away from that with some breaking news. So Hong Kong just approved the first batch of spot Bitcoin ETFs. Now, this is substantial. This is another kind of unlock of liquidity for Bitcoin, just like we've seen in the United States. So we've seen Bitcoin actually become the fastest growing ETF ever. Gold took 2 years to do what Bitcoin did in 2 months. And we're likely going to see this continue. And we still are not at that stage yet where people have correctly adjusted to Bitcoin as an asset class and onboarding it into their portfolio. Even if they do that to 1 to 2%, Bitcoin's got a long way and a lot of volume to capture. And of course, Hong Kong is now getting on board with this. We have seen, and we covered this a while ago, I fished this out. This is more wild stuff in China as local investors pile into gold stock ETFs, pushing its premium up to 30% and forcing it to halt trading. Investors there are so desperate to buy anything that are not linked to their own economy stock market, which has been in the gutter. So Bitcoin, I think, is really going to appreciate from this sunshine that gold is seeing. For those wondering, buying Bitcoin ETFs is not allowed there. If it were my guess, is they'd be going gaga for it, given how much FOMO. So we're now actually seeing, okay, Hong Kong. There is a difference between Hong Kong and sort of more mainland China. But I think this is going to do really well and sort of bolster the price and the demand of Bitcoin. Remember, all of this is happening going into a halvening. So there's a great fundamental reasoning to expect this bull market to continue. When you look at the Bitcoin chart, all that panic over the weekend, I actually saw people coming on and saying World War III is starting. Unsubscribe to those people. Your mental state is going to be way better off sticking with a channel here where we try and be a little bit melatonin in situations like that and put things into a broader perspective. My bias on a market comes from a chart, not news headlines. And we're going to look at the charts towards the end of the video, and I'm going to be showing you that actually the correction that we saw in altcoins is part and parcel of the course. We see it every time. And actually, can you deal with that if you can't get the hell out of the kitchen? It's plain and simple. if you're at that stage with crypto where it's affecting your life too much and it's hard to not let it, you shouldn't be speculating or being involved in this space. Plain and simple. You know, we don't shill any coins on this channel. I do not care whether people buy crypto or they don't. It's up to you. I personally do it. I have a group of people behind me that have been doing it and have still, regardless of the pullback that we've seen, done very well. But you need to make that decision for yourselves. And if you think, first of all, you should never be playing with money you can't afford to lose, period. I know we all do it at times, but you shouldn't be. And secondly, if you can't handle the heat, just get out the kitchen. Plain and simple. Go and do something else. But back to the kind of topic at hand, I think we've got this great fundamental narrative. Also, technically, we still look great. Let's cover the other news that's sort of come out today, which is breaking. Germany's largest federal bank, LBBW, to offer Bitcoin and crypto custodian services to fulfill increased corporate demand. Great fundamental narrative in regards to what's coming. There really is. And I have previously covered this. If you want to dive more into this, because I don't really want to share things too publicly in regards to, it's a very sensitive issue, what happened over the weekend. But I think there's a lot that stinks with it. And it's very coincidental that we had Saturday's event based on what was happening and the divergence we're seeing between the bond market, the fiat systems and gold and an alternative. And the fact that on Friday, which is what leaned on risk aggressively Friday, we saw real defending of that correlation. Gold was really getting out of hand, and that's bad news for their debt-based failing system that, by the way, they're destroying on purpose, ready for a new system, and Bitcoin perhaps could be that sheepdog that herds everybody into that system. We'll do a longer video on that coming on Wednesday, by the way, guys, because I always get comments about my true thoughts on Bitcoin. I think the people that just blindly believe the Satoshi story and the Bitcoin story are... And it's crazy to me because some of these are really smart people, but they just, you know, I know doctors that are obviously very smart, but also very dumb, you know, and I think that applies to anything. But we saw some really aggressive defending. This is what concentrated short selling looks like on gold and silver. And this was Friday. This leaned, and then we had the whole Iran news over the weekend. And that seems to kind of have quieted down a bit. And again, I think crypto really got hit as hard as it did. And when we look at a chart in a second and a zoomed out approach like we did yesterday, it didn't seem that bad. Because it was on its own. It was flailing around. You know, it's like, I don't know if anybody's ever done nighttime swimming. It's quite scary when you plunge into that water and you can't quite see what's around you, you know. But let's talk about the charts now. To kind of put things into perspective and to sort of reaffirm the fact that we're still very bullish on crypto despite all of this. And we came out on both occasions and said that this was still the case. We have learned to dance in the eye of the storm, and we think you should as well. And we think you should understand, and we're going to go on to that in just a second, the nature of the beast that you're dealing with and how to deal with it. And part of dealing with this market is to not be trying to trade it with any kind of leverage. You will lose your shit. I promise you that. I know a number of damn good traders that got wiped on Friday and then double banged on Saturday. And these are people that have been trading for longer than I've been even looking at markets. You know, but this is the total too. This is an important chart, certainly for me, who's in majority altcoins. We will be doing an update on Bitcoin dominance and things like that at a later date. But you can see this is still very much on course in regards to setting up a technical pattern that I believe is going to see the cryptocurrency market go from 1 trillion all the way to 3.7. And actually, when you put this into perspective, people will say, oh, well, the chart's on log. Yes, there's a reason, ding dong, that we put the chart on log, because it really quietens things down and allows us to take a more level-headed approach to the markets. But we actually think this is going all the way to 3.7 trillion. We think Bitcoin and what it has in regards to technical merit supports this. Our broader thesis on the markets, you know, this is Bitcoin, by the way. All that fear, all those headlines for this. And this is the importance of being a sub to a channel like this and having that level head, having that smooth hand, bloody hell, having that steady hand in a volatile sea. And to put things really into perspective, this is Ethereum in the last bull market. Okay, obviously you had the March 2020 crash, which was 68%. Then you had and by the way, you've got lots of little crashes that we've not put on here just for the sake of time, but we'll look at very quickly. So even these crashes seem small, but they're like nearly 20%. I mean, some of these candles. And Ethereum's market cap is very much where many of your small altcoins are. And your altcoins are doing a very similar thing to what Ethereum did. So you had a 68% correction, you had a 35% correction, you had a 35% correction. This is common. Then you have a 61, then you have a 35% one. You went higher each and every time. How are you going to deal with that? Are you going to come out like I saw a lot of people, not particularly in regards to that are in the Allincrypto kind of comment section and things like this, because I think a lot of people are regular viewers and they kind of know the story. But I saw a lot of people across the crypto space that were just shit in the bed. I mean, really panicking. And first of all, my heart goes out to them a little bit because I can relate. You know, you got to remember I got back in or started investing in crypto early 2017, did really well and had to ride it the whole way down and felt like a real idiot and then ride all this volatility and then ride all this, you know. But you need to understand the nature of the beast that you're dealing with. And if you look at Ethereum today, does it look too dissimilar? In fact, you could even argue that the pullbacks are significantly less than what we've previously seen. And when you look at an altcoin like HBAR, you know, which is one of our favorite altcoins, we make no bones about that. This is normal, guys. Sounds crazy. And if you look at where you're supporting on that 30 weekly moving average, you know, we do not think there's anything to worry about. Do not fear. Allincrypto is here. We're right there with you. You know, my personal portfolio is fluctuating on this recent dip, what would seem scary numbers, like really scary for some. But I understand the nature of the beast that I'm dealing with. I understand this is a volatile market. I understand the high risk comes with the high reward. And I have time on my side. You know, I'm still relatively young. And, you know, I can take a bit more of a gamble than perhaps others can. And I truly believe in this industry. You know, we are a little bit of a hybrid crypto channel because we interview some of the CTOs, CEOs, founders of some of the largest cryptocurrencies that are out there, period. And so we believe in this technology. We always have. We believed in the fact and what it's going to do and the change it's going to bring to the world. But we also like to speculate, and we also believe in markets. You know, I'm a marketeer. I'm a technical analyzer, a trader, an investor. And we kind of bring all that together, and a bit of a macro analyzer, I must say. Certainly, I would argue I do a far better job than many of the macro LARPs out there that, you know, we've kind of seen time and time again where you don't have a clue what they're talking about. So that is all from me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm wishing you all a magic Monday, starting the week off right. Hopefully that's put things into perspective. We have said over the weekend that the important thing is going to be what crypto does today and during this week. A little bit on the broader markets, perhaps, just before I love and leave you. So gold, still doing well. That demand is clearly there. Remember, this was Friday. I'll show you the actual day. Very aggressive defending of gold. But we still have a higher target, and this is marching right towards us. Gold not looking too bad today. Some of the futures markets, NASDAQ futures market actually up. S&P futures market up. We'll see what today brings and what this week brings. Even Amazon, which is still marching towards our target, even though everyone was begging us to be short because of the fact that Jeff Bezos was selling and was saying, you don't know what you're talking about. We go off the charts, not what the news says. Anyway, that's enough of me gloating. Yeah, always a pleasure. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. Have a magic Monday, and I'll catch you all in the next daily cryptocurrency market update.